Well, it's fine.
Hey, everyone. This is Janae. How are we all doing? Hi, Alicia.
Hey, girl. Hey.
Oh, I didn't even tell you what we're going to talk about, but you're going
Nope.
to love it. It's going to be a good
Perfect.
one. Okay, everyone. So the show has just happened this past weekend, but we are recording early. So hopefully, if you purchased your ticket, if you were at the Capitol, it was the best night ever, and we looked fantastic.
Oh, I know that all of those things are going to happen. I haven't started panicking about my hair yet, but maybe we could soon.
No, your hair is the last thing we should be panicking about. I think we should panic about my hair maybe, or what else? Our outfits. We don't even know what we're wearing. But hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And I think we wanted to just take a minute to say that tickets are still on sale right now for the recording, you guys. So you could definitely purchase a ticket right now and see what was all about. There was a few surprises.
I'm sure that there's some serious FOMO.
Oh,
Mofo.
yes. Mofo.
Guys, I need to tell you that story really quick. Anyone well knows that. I mean, English is her second language. So sometimes there's like little expressions or little words that she uses wrong. It's part of her charm.
It's part of my charm.
I actually I love it. And there was one day we were talking or like a business meeting, whatever. And she was like, yeah, like mofo. And I just like looked at her and I laughed. I knew exactly what she meant to say, but it was an amazing moment. So if you had mofo, get your ticket.
I just feel like how can they make two different things, FOMO and MOFO? Like they're asking for it.
Like
They are
Porsche
asking.
and porch.
That is difficult. I have to say the other one before just to remind myself. Oh my God.
Okay, wait, one more favorite one was when she said we were talking about cutting out something right away. And she said, instead of saying cold turkey, she said, let's go cold cut. And like turkey is a cold cut. So like, I get that. I get that.
See? Oh my goodness. And it's like bring the horse to the water, but you can't feed it or something. It's all these expressions.
Oh, it's
Too
good.
much for me.
It's good.
It's too much.
Okay. What are we discussing here today?
Okay, so today we are discussing when you're not allowing yourself to eat when you're hungry.
Ooh.
Mm.
So let's remind them, because we've had a little break, but let's remind them that we are focusing our podcast episodes this month on certain behaviors, thoughts that maybe you're doing that is putting yourself on a diet. You might not even be aware of it. We really want to bring awareness to the fact that you actually can lose weight without being on a diet, and just make you guys realize that maybe some of your language, your thoughts, your actions are putting yourself on a diet. And that's why you're not being successful, because you're on a diet.
Yeah, absolutely. And diets don't work.
No.
I mean, when they say that, I'm like, what?
I know.
They do work, but it's just you're not recognizing why they're not working. And it's because you can't be consistent. And why can't you be consistent? It's because you're not being authentic.
Maybe.
Oh, she's frozen. Oh no. Okay, come back. Come back to me. You were frozen. Oh, shoot. Why is this happening? Okay, she's back.
We're back.
Okay, we're back. Whew. Okay. I didn't hear anything that you said. Maybe they did. I didn't.
I said that, maybe we don't like expressions like that because we always need, like, I don't like expressions like fake it till you make it. I'm like, well, we need to discuss that actually. Like, I don't like expressions because I'm like, we need to talk about it.
Yes, let's talk about it. And why are you saying that? Is my next question. Why are you saying that? Is like a big one for me. Why do you think that? Why? Like, agreed, because there's so much to unfold. You can't just say this one thing and think that that is like it, And I also, okay, for me, the like diets don't work doesn't lead to like anything. Like, I don't like that there's no solution.
Yeah, that's not helping anyone.
No, exactly. It's not helping anyone. Okay, cool. Okay, so the reason why I think this is like such a good conversation is because that's actually one of the fears I think that most people have, thinking they want to lose weight. They're so fearful of being hungry. And so they're like, oh, in order for me to lose weight, I'm going to have to live in this like state of hunger. And I'm like, wait a second, like, If we all just ate when we were actually hungry, I think we would have less issues with obesity. The issue out there with over consuming in energy and in food doesn't come from when we're eating when we're hungry. It comes from eating way past being full. It comes from portion control. It comes from, so it's like, if you were just eating when you were hungry, why are we fearing to eat when we're hungry?
It's a lot to unpack because hunger is like a huge topic as well, because some people actually have completely lost the ability to identify true physiological hunger. So that's like a whole piece, as well as people like what one person would rate as starving, another person would rate as like just barely hungry. So when we're talking about that, we're talking about like maybe someone like step one, if you want to be a person that only eats when they're hungry and stops before they're stuffed, you need to be the person that's in touch with true hunger.
Absolutely. And when we say you only eat when you're hungry, no human only eats when they're hungry, just FYI. So if that's like not a realistic goal, now you can eat, like you can do more of that. So more often. So maybe right now you're eating all the time. You don't even listen to your hunger cues, but maybe you just try to do that more often, but always is never a thing, right? Perfection is never a thing. And what Alicia was saying kind of made me think of people confuse hunger with not full.
Yes.
So like you just ate a plate, you are not hungry anymore. Maybe you're not full, but you are not hungry. You can't say I'm hungry. So when the kids say things like they just ate their supper and they're still hungry, okay, for either more or a dessert, you're not hungry. You would just like a dessert. Like, so that's what I mean when I say no one just eats when they're hungry, because then a dessert wouldn't exist. Really, when you think about it, you are not hungry at dessert time. You just ate a plate. Now you might not be full, but dessert, exactly. So when I eat that piece of chocolate after lunch, I'm not hungry though, and I'm eating. So I'm not bad, and it doesn't make me gain weight. I'm actually almost closing off that meal. Like that's like the purpose of the chocolate, is to like shut the meal down,
It's the, what's it called when you're at a concert and people clap and you come out again?
Encore.
The encore.
Yeah.
Everyone needs
bring it back. Bring the chocolate back. Everyone needs an encore after their lunch. Absolutely. And supper. But you know what I mean? Like dessert wouldn't exist if we only just ate when we were hungry. And honestly, restaurant portions wouldn't exist if we were just eating when we were hungry. Like it's just, at the end of the day, we live in a culture where we consume way more than our actual body needs. And that's okay. It's to be aware of that and to be smart about what we're consuming and to really create better hunger fullness cues.
100%. And one more thing before we like kind of like get to that actual thing. It is also possible, you guys, that you are hungry while being in a calorie surplus. Like just because your hunger does not necessarily indicate deficit. Like you could eat such calorie dense foods and in such a big portion, maybe your breakfast, you could literally eat your day's worth of energy at breakfast time. Easy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And then you're going to eat again and you're going to get hungry during the day. So it is possible to be in a surplus while being hungry because maybe you didn't like budget your energy appropriately. You used it a lot on something small. You used it all at once. So just know that just because you're hungry does not mean you created a calorie deficit. And also you do not have to be hungry in order to create a calorie deficit.
Yeah, that's good.
Like there's I do think with a calorie deficit, there's a level of hunger that comes with it. But remember, calorie deficit is a range. So you can be in a very small calorie deficit. You're not going to feel that hunger. You be in a large, massive calorie deficit. Of course, you're going to feel hunger, but also hunger is not bad.
No, this is what I want to say. If you're like, you should be hungry during the day when it's time to eat.
Yes.
That's the difference. Like people like Jeff are hungry.
Yeah.
Right before supper. So I think it's like very interesting to me that like people think it's hunger is not bad. You know what's bad? Being hungry and not allowing yourself to eat.
And do you know why Jeff like feels true physiological hunger before supper? Because he has created a system where he basically gives his body the amount of energy that it needs to function. Do you know what I mean? Like at lunch, he eats how much ever energy, and then he's hungry again because his body is looking for more energy. Like he's got that system for himself, right?
Yeah,
You
exactly.
should feel a little bit hungry when it's time to eat.
Yeah. And like Jeff, before he eats his breakfast, is hungry. Before he eats his lunch, is hungry. Before he eats his supper, is hungry. So clearly it's like before going to bed, you're sleepy. It's like your body is telling you what it needs and you just go and act on that need. But I think we're putting so much emphasis on that when we're thinking of losing weight, of hunger, when we should be putting more emphasis on creating awareness on fullness, right? On fullness. I'm wondering did you hear all that I said? Okay, good. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Okay, so what part do we want to really narrow down in?
Okay, so I think the reason why this behavior is happening, guys, is because in the past, you've been on diets that you were following rules, whether that was a portion you were allowed, a food you were allowed, a time you were allowed, and that rule left you feeling hungry. You followed all the rules and you were hungry. So you learned, too bad, I'm on a diet. I don't eat even though I'm hungry. So we've learned that behavior.
And I want you to know that when you've been on like diets that are like, I'm going to transform your body in 2 minutes.
Yep.
They are putting you in a massive deficit. That's massive. Their goal. Massive. Yep. So those diets, you guys, where you lose like 5-6 pounds a week and you're literally melting and you're so hungry. You're just on the couch melting, basically. It's no energy, nothing. Okay. Well, what's happening here is that's why you're so hungry, is because you're creating this massive deficit. And so you're getting those massive weight loss results that never stick. And you want to switch that massive deficit to a smaller one where you're not left on the couch just feeling hungry, where you are eating when you're hungry and you still lose weight because you're still in a deficit. It's just a smaller one. Give yourself time. Oh my gosh, you guys.
Give yourself time. But we also need to value honoring our hunger. Sometimes I invest in a snack. So let's say it's 4 p.m. and I know we're not eating supper till 5:30. I know I'm more hungry than I should be going into an hour and a half to eat. I know from my past experience what happens when you hit dinner time hangry. Overconsumption, way past hunger. So because I'm hungry, I'm going to eat something. Crazy concept. Sometimes we try and like save it. You know what I mean? Like, 150, 200 calories. Not that I'm counting it, but like a small snack is all I need to get me through.
Yeah. And I observe Jeff a lot because he definitely like has found his system, like you said, to maintain this healthy weight. And I see him, if it's like 4:45 and we're eating at 5, he's waiting.
Yeah.
But if it's 3:30 and he's like, I'm hungry, he grabs a snack like he does before, or even if it's 4 p.m. He's just like, I don't know why, but I'm really hungry. He doesn't question it. He doesn't like, oh, I want to push it because the calories like, and I think that we sometimes don't trust ourselves, and it's not your fault. You were never left. We said this last podcast. You were never given full permission to be yourself. You were always told how you should eat, when you should eat. And that's why labeling times that are the eating windows and not does not allow you to create awareness around your hunger and your fullness. I think what people want to hear from us is where to start. How do I start? I've seen this on my Instagram, but how do I start creating more awareness around my fullness? I think portions and recognizing that the second plate is never because you are hungry. The second plate is something to like look into if you are going on a second plate every single supper. I talked to my little guy at Sobeys, everyone. I saw him and I was like, are we creating awareness? How's that everything going? He's like, I have definitely created awareness and I've like noticed a few little things. It was very interesting. And he said that second plate at supper, I now question myself more because you've like explained to me that it's not the food, but it's the amount and how much I'm consuming. And he's like, that second plate that I always go for. And he told me like meat and potatoes. He's like, I'm always asking myself, like, why am I eating the second plate if I can eat again later? Like, I don't need it right now. So I think people aren't recognizing that a big issue is the permission to eat later, permission to eat again. That is definitely one of the first steps to not overeating while you're eating.
I so agree. Like, guys, permission to eat at night. Like
Mm.
if sometimes we're eating so much at supper because like, oh, can't eat at night. So like you're creating scarcity mindset for yourself and you're causing yourself to eat way past hunger just in case I'm going to eat when I'm not hungry now, just in case. So I don't get hungry later. Like if you're hungry later, eat.
I also feel like it's not when we're on diets and we're being told almost like our day to day, I guess, routine, where there are some days I'm way more hungry.
I
And
was
there are
going to
some
say
days that
that.
I'm not as hungry.
Yes.
Also, it doesn't take into account the exercise and movement. So today I'm going to be sitting at my desk a lot, but I'll be teaching 2 classes of spin. So it's like, I feel like I need to like listen. People want to know how to create awareness. I'm like, stop and listen to your body. Shut the noise. I guess there's no magic. There's nothing in a piece of paper that's going to do this. It's every single day. Stop and listen more.
I think that creating awareness, like maybe being so purposeful with it, where you have like a little journal, you have a note in your phone, whether you want to like use words or like a number to rate your hunger cue, and just really having kind of those conversations with yourself and just being purposeful with your awareness around your hunger and fullness. And I think portions could go along with that as well. Like,
Yeah, I am excited for my Friday Maintenance Live. I'm finishing up my first week of like no scale. I've like switched a few things. I'm going to leave it as a surprise for our members, but
okay.
I really, really enjoy the awareness that I'm creating with my reflection sheet that I created for myself.
Ooh,
It allows me to, so I shared the reflection sheet with our members last Friday,
okay.
just the questions. There's no changes yet in my reflection sheet. It is giving me everything that I need to reflect. Now, the biggest work is to not forget to do the reflection sheet.
Yeah.
So instead of getting on the scale, which I would probably never forget, I need to not forget to do the reflection sheet because I'm almost replacing that strategy with another strategy.
Right.
Like, because my strategy to create a deficit was always check the scale, it'll tell you and kind of adjust.
Yeah.
But now it's like I don't have the scale. So it's really like the reflection sheet makes me stay connected to my hunger, to my calorie awareness, because it asks me. And every single day this week, I have not created calorie awareness. And every single day this week, I've said, I think I'm in a surplus. Like I don't know. There are some days I'm like, I think this was a deficit, but not a big one. And then it's like, why? And I'm like, well, I did feel hunger a few times. So meaning my portions weren't that big because I'm not creating awareness around my portion, like around my calorie consumption, because I don't count calories. So it's like, it's making me realize how I'm not that I'm all over the place, but it's like, okay, like when you're eating, is there any other way that we could definitely try to calculate or not calculate, but estimate how much is in that, yogurt bowl? Like how much cottage cheese are you putting in there? How much yogurt are you putting in there? How much cereal are you putting in there? How much peanut butter? And literally it's a bowl of Buddy the Elf, but how much of this shit are you putting in there? Is this bowl 500? I have this thing where how people underestimate how many calories? I usually overestimate. I think that's like one of my superpowers as like someone that like estimates her calories and actually maintains her weight is I like to like up it. I know that it's always more than I think it is. So I'm like, I think this is 300, let's say 5. Like, I'm like, because I'm like, I know that I'm off. Whereas other people are like nicer to themselves. They're like, it's probably 300. Oh, well, they like really calculate 250. I'm the opposite. So I give myself a lot of leeway. But I also never, ever am left hungry. We all know how I hate being hungry. So it's like my strategy right now. It's a lot.
We're going to have a lot to debrief. We might have to do each an individual podcast when we're done our experiments. Because I'm also doing an experiment. I won't talk about it now, but and I haven't listened to your maintenance live, but I love the like replacing your tool with another tool and like just being more purposeful with your reflection. Like there is a lot to talk about.
Yeah, because I wanted to see if the scale is almost more dictating my reflections and that I'm not having really inner reflections with my body, with my hunger cues, with how I feel. I'm letting the scale almost dictate how I should feel, or if I should be proud, or if I should like my actions.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I mean, it's just been a week, it's been a week tomorrow. So like, for me, it's like, I just see that I can survive without it. But I do want to stay connected. Like that's important to me. And what's important to me, is it the number or is it staying connected? So like which one? It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. I love
So,
it.
guys, we ask one thing of you. Do not suffer.
Exactly.
Do not suffer for weight loss. You do not need to be suffering, hungry, starving in order to create a calorie deficit in your life. If you are, you're creating too large of one, or you just haven't found your kind of like your system. That's why we have that whole section in the how-to program that's called how to create your own meal plan. It's basically like how to create a calorie deficit that doesn't suck.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. Please go and get your ticket for the recording of Choose You. We love you. We appreciate you. And you deserve to not be on a diet. Okay, bye.